as Janie's pushing me out, the hands, needs must, right? And I'm not obviously going to hurt her, but there's a huge struggle past. And it's not until, like you said, line of sight breaks, and maybe the last thing that I see is Carol dragging this limp figure along. And that's when it all clicks away for me. So the eyes go back to regular size, and instead of that deep fisheye focus, like the camera kind of zooms back in and there's a blink, and I'm just staring at Janie, staring at me. The sweaty heart, my fucking cravat is a mess. And I just take in this huge deep breath, and I think Janie knows what I did.
Yeah, Janie, you just saw your sometime lover kill a man with their bare hands. How about you give me a violence check?
Well, I rolled an 84.
So have a new violence fail, and how are you going to respond?
When I see that Quinn has kind of come back into themselves, there's a sorrow and a worry in my eyes, and realizing that they're back and finally being able to take a second and process everything that's just happened, I just kind of shrivel a little bit and kind of shrink into myself because the response that I'm choosing is to freeze.
You and Barbara are both shut down on the porch. Hugo's baffled. Quinn's ashamed. Inside, Carol is thinking, oh God, how do I cover up a murder? Everything I was trained to do was on how to uncover up murders, which is the point at which Dick's eyes open and he's like, is she gone? Give me an unnatural check.
95.
Oh, all right. How are you responding to the zombie?
I back up in freezing because I'm just confused as to, is he alive? Is he dead? How's he going to respond? I'm just like, ah!
So you're just backing away, and all you can do is watch and you dragged him into the kitchen. He tries to stand up and then doesn't, and then like gets his back to the front of the fridge so that he can push himself up, and he's knocking off like calendars and magnets, and he opens the fridge, gets out a beer, knocks the cap off on the edge of the counter, glug, 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 and then presses the cold beer to his eye, which is starting to swell. What's Quinn doing? Because Janie's just shut down.
I backed up and I slumped up against the side of the house, and I'm just now sitting kind of in that little corner next to but like with my butt up against the house and sitting on the porch, and I'm just kind of hugging my knees and just staring off into the distance.
All right, yeah, Quinn.
I can't make eye contact with Janie. I can't look at Janie. I can't have Janie in the hemisphere of my vision. So that means I am walking, unfortunately, towards Hugo.
What happened? Is someone hurt?
I'm walking right past him, because here's the fucking thing, right? Is that, do you know, it was 10 minutes ago that Janie was coming apart because there was this ugly side of a person, and that was the thing, and that's how she knew that Hugo wasn't the one. And then, like, fucking Satan's unlucky coin flipped that, and now it happened again. And I just know that the only reason I'm involved in this is to protect her, and now she's seen the worst side of two people. So Hugo's like, hey man, Gatorade party, here we go. And I just shoulder right past him, walking past walking past Barbara's truck, walking past walking past Carol's truck. I'm depending on how far it is, I might make it all the way to the arch before I stop and then just fall down onto my knees, head in my hands.
Hugo comes over. It's the hibiscus peach Gatorade that isn't out all the time, but is Janie's favorite. And he holds it out to you. He's like, what happened?
In this state, is responding to anybody.
You can snap out once Quinn is out of your immediate eyesight. You are crouched down. Quinn's on the other side of the truck. Hugo's standing conveniently to block that. And you're starting to, but still, yeah, you're not like processing. You feel like you're in neutral.
So Hugo comes up, holds out my favorite flavor of Gatorade, and I see the color out of the corner of my eye because it's a very distinct color. But I don't change my gaze. I don't look up at him. I don't even look at the Gatorade. I just reach my hand up limply, grab the Gatorade, and just hold it, and say, without looking at him, there was a fight.
Okay. I'm gonna go get a drink for Barb, because she seems like she's not okay.
There are snakes.
Oh, fucking snakes, yeah. Thanks for the heads up about... Are they just, like, wriggling around on the floor, or?
No, they're in terrariums. They're
okay.
They're
okay.
big.
Is this guy like one of those Pentecostal snake handler dudes, or what?
I don't know. We didn't.
Okay. I'm gonna go get her okay. Maybe.
Yeah.
And you see him go over and take her arm, and he leads her over to the Jeep and, puts her inside and hands her a Gatorade and puts her in. And as he does that, he sees the rifle and he like squats down and picks that up. And with this 100% Hugo, well, that's not right look on his face as he takes the clip out and ejects the cartridge. And like dusts it off and is kind of looking at it and, looks at, the Jeep and looks at the truck and looks at you and then looks down at the arch where Quinn is, and you see him take the rifle and he like sniffs at the end to see if it's been fired. And then with a little shrug, goes and puts it in the trunk, or in the back of the truck, and then, gradually walks into the house. Those of you outside don't hear what's going on. Carol, you're inside, and you're in the kitchen. You hear Hugo come in and go, they weren't lying about the snakes, and Dick just kind of turns and hobbles into the living room and is like, yeah, with the air conditioning they stay like semi-torpid. Who the hell are you?
Does seeing Hugo come in and seeing then the reaction the not dead person gives,
weirdly this snaps you out of it and you're like, huh? I guess that guy was never dead, because, wait, maybe you're not supposed to take the pulse at the front. Maybe that's for breathing. Damn it, I wish I'd paid attention in health class when we covered the first aid.
I was kind of panicking because I was really fucking worried the guy was dead and that we were going to have a whole thing here, and I still am a little worried, but at least this makes me speak again, and I just say... Dick, listen.
Was this about the pronouns?
No. Maybe. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Just the rain, okay?
Yeah.
Why does the rain want you to have the blonde and the U-turn device? What's going on? I think maybe this will happen because we're not on the plan, so maybe we should get back on the plan.
Oh, yeah, that's a good... What's your name?
Carol.
Carol. Like Carol O'Connor from that... What was that sitcom where... Archie Bunker?
Yeah, sure. Look, focus.
I have...
Dick.
What? Dude, I just got my head bounced off the floor of my house by the most fashionable attacker I've encountered since my years on the force. I'm a little disoriented. Also, look, is my eye okay? And Hugo's like, no, that's pretty messed up, dude. And he's like, yeah, it feels like it won't open.
We'll give you some medical attention in a moment, but it's really important that we keep on focus, because the second we get an ambulance in here, it's going to interfere with...
Oh, we can't have an ambulance. No. I can't have no deep state shit out here. You know what I mean?
Well, that's your choice.
You look like a dude who knows the score, Carol. So, just between us as men of the world, and he kind of turns his back on Hugo, who, in apparently less than 60 seconds of examination with one good eye, he has decided is not a guy who knows the score. It's like, yeah, no, that was a rough-ass scene, but I don't think we need to get Johnny Law involved, right? And he switches his beer to his left hand and gives you kind of this weak, feeble punch on the shoulder. He's like, yeah, because all cops are bastards, right?
I let out a low sigh, but I think because actually I've taken I've got 5 at isolation in terms of successes. So I think that kind of, that kind of means that I don't really care about this guy getting medical aid, really. Like, as long as he's fine to just not make a scene, I'm fine with people not making scenes.
I got lit up, right? The lightning hit, and it was like suddenly I didn't have to give a fuck about everything, and it was extremely freeing, right? And there was a figure, like a second soul with me, right? And then it wore off, and then I got put on permanent disability for some unrelated matters. But I couldn't let it go, right? Because I wanted that. I wanted to be free again and see beyond just, and he sort of gestures around his somewhat shabby bachelor ranch. He's like, I wanted to feel that way again. So I started doing research into orgone therapy, and I built a cloud buster. Well, first I tried the lightning rod, see if that could get her back down here. But indifferent results at best. But the cloud buster, man, yeah.
Wait a second. Is that why you built this place in this location?
It just felt right.
Because you want to get struck by lightning again.
No, well, it's not like I want to get... I feel like the lightning is like getting an injection, right? Like with a needle or something, like a syringe. So, your hardcore heroin addicts will use the needle because it's faster. But you can also just, snort it. And I'm looking for a way to snort this experience rather than inject it. I do want to get back to that. But I don't think I need to get crisped again. I mean, I wasn't going to tell the blonde, but I got scars on parts of me that I don't want to show anybody, It's gross stuff. It looks, and yes, he gestures down towards his groin. He's like, it just looks like a willow tree down there, man. And Hugo's like, can I get one of those beers? Sure, kid, knock yourself out. Hugo goes into the kitchen and he's like, Carol? Brewski?
Thanks, kid. I'm okay.
Single serve margarita?
I kind of just do a little bit of a face palm, and I just say, again, I'm fine, kid. Mr. Dick, you were saying about a machine. You built some sort of...
Yeah, it's in the shed. I bet if we put the blonde in it, because look, man, it's coming in. Can you smell it? Can you smell that rain smell?
Yeah, sure.
I bet if we put her in it, she'd be able to get a clearer signal because she was tuned in more recently. The thing I think happened, he's like, I think what happened is a long time ago, this Satanist dude pinned down this spirit under 5 locations, the 5 rocks, right? That's how you found me, the 5 rocks, right? I found like 3 of them. Figured out where the other points were, but I couldn't find generally. And when this place came up for sale, I'm like, that's gotta be it, right? That's gotta be it. And so once I got the Cloudbuster running, you can kind of hear and kind of see and kind of pick up the signal. Let's get her out.
What do you mean by the signal?
You know, hear the voice, see the sights, like being up above it all. That's what's being held down by the 5 points, is her, the signal. Man, it's probably easier for her to communicate with women. That would make sense, wouldn't it? Or am I being insensitive again? Because, man, I'm feeling I should take a lesson about mitigating my speech and maybe being more sensitive. I've upset people before, but that was another level.
You know, buddy, and I lean forward. Maybe it was something to do with the fact that you were doing something unusual. Don't you remember saying some weird shit? Like
oh yeah, well,
their soul.
I can almost never do that. But that's again from the lightning. That's the signal. You know, it's not like right now we can just see with our eyes and hear with our ears and only the stuff that's right around here. But man, when you're in signal space, it's, the past, all that stuff's just clearly visible. I think I may have had a vision of one of the human sacrifices that happened at that rock. Did you guys find a rock that was shaped kind of like a fan or like a crest?
Yeah.
Yeah, you dig deep enough under there, you're gonna find a dead person.
Dick, you wait here a moment. You nurse that wound.
Yeah. What's your name, kid? And, Hugo introduces himself. Me and Hugo go pull the Cloudbuster out. He's like, you got some guns there, kid. Smack.
I nod and I just start slowly walking out, trying to find the others.
So out front, Barbara has recovered. She's sitting in her car, breathing in a paper bag, and after doing that for a bit, she gets out and comes over to Janie and is like, Janie, did one of the snakes get loose or something?
No, the snakes are fine.
Too bad.
I made sure of it. Oh, first genuine laugh in a bit. Little brevity's nice.
So did that man do something? He does not seem like he's got all his components wired in the right order.
No, I don't know. He was talking about Quinn and I don't know, something about a visitor or like there was another soul and clam chowder and I don't...
Clam chowder?
Yeah, I know. And I don't know if Quinn is just like allergic or what, but just sent them into just blind rage. I don't understand.
Looks over at the arch and is like, Quinn did not seem like the blind rage type.
Yeah, I know.
I guess it's those still waters that run deep. Well, what should I do? Should I go talk to him? Them?
I mean, I don't really want to right now. So, somebody probably should.
So, Quinn, you're out by the arch, and Barbara approaches slowly with a bottle of water. It says, The peach hibiscus Gatorade is kind of an acquired taste, but everybody likes water on a hot day in the desert, right? You look a little flustered and dehydrated. Why don't you drink this?
I'll take it. Posture defeated. I'd made an attempt at tying the cravat back, but my hands are shaking, so it's just hanging around my neck like a loose bow tie. I'll screw the cap off and use the moment of drinking elaborately to collect my thoughts.
She's got like one of those photographer style vests with a bunch of pockets. She opens one, pulls out a red paisley bandana and is like, "Here, why don't you wipe your face off a little bit? You'll feel better. Maybe put some water on that. Wipe your face off."
Quinn's not the type to follow instructions, but when advice is good advice, then, I mean...
Even a stopwatch is right twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
Though you don't necessarily want one hanging on your wrist all the time. And the same goes for Barbara, probably, but
I think after a small amount of small talk and like, so, how about that rock formation? I will eventually have to broach the topic and say, is everything okay back there?
Janie seems to have undergone something of... she was upset. But, you know, she'll get over it. What about you? Are you upset?
Not about that. It's weird. That was catharsis. Crack my shoulders a little bit.
What happened? I don't know. I'm not going back in that house.
All this time, you've said that my seventh sense cannot detect any spooky sexual secrets about Barbara because there are none. But she doesn't give off any of the other touched by things from beyond energy, right?
Mundane as a toilet seat.
Well, I'm not going to be the one to rip back the veil on poor Barbara here. So I'll say, he said something and it reminded me of a thing that, I try not to be reminded of, and I just lost myself. It's been gesturing towards the sky, hand in a circle, a lot.
Did you know that man before? I mean, I know he was a police officer. Did he do something to you?
No.
And this is the point at which Janie... Okay, and where's Carol? Did you go out front, or...?
I went out front, so I'm probably going to run into Janie first.
Yes. All right, and so the two of you are out there just kind of being quietly shocked as Hugo and the dead dude pull this contraption on... It's like, picture a wooden plate with wheels probably off an old... It probably just is an old trailer for carrying around like yard equipment. And built up on it is a wooden armature with probably a dozen brass bells from like tubas and sousaphones and trombones, and they're all arrayed in this big sort of spread, like a cornucopia, facing upwards at about a 45-degree angle. It's a bizarre object, and all of these are feeding into... They seem to be wired to clamps that are then fed through some kind of electronic equipment, like, there's an old-fashioned oscilloscope right prominent so that you can, and a seat so that you can sit and face the oscilloscope with all of the brass instruments in front of you, and this is being brought forth by the man you thought Quinn killed. And as they get out, and Hugo is, helping him pull it, and you see him let go and step off to the side. As Hugo keeps like, here, and he's like, yeah, that's good enough. And from behind his back pulls out a large handgun and is pointing it up, and he's like, okay, so I really don't want any further trouble. Janie, do you think the two of you need to make some kind of stress checks?
I would say so, yeah. Not just because I thought he was dead, but now there's a handgun involved, and I'm not...
Okay, so which are you more hardened to? Violence or the unnatural?
Violence with 1.
Yeah, so you're marginally more upset by the fact that he's not dead than the fact that he might soon make someone else dead. So yeah, give me that unnatural check. Quinn, for you it's unnatural. 'Cause you've just over the past, 3 minutes been trying to adapt your mind to the idea that, oh God, I'm a murderer. Was there any part of you that was like, I would give anything for a second chance. I would give anything for him to be alive?
I think that regret was immediate. It didn't have anything to do with him, but like if I could have killed him in secret, I wouldn't be having this breakdown.
Also, there's no denial.
It's layers. So things that I am concerned about, my own internal well-being, that's something that I can on my own time. But in terms of Janie being hurt in first position, and then like in 7th position, it's more awkward for Carol, and then like in 17th position, it's am I the kind of person who does this kind of thing? I'll get there eventually, but today is not the day. But it does seem unnatural to me because, one, he reached up and then reached into my brain, and now he's back from the dead. The man is clearly a sorcerer.
All right, give me that roll.
87.
I'm weirdly okay with it. I rolled an 18.
I'm definitely not.
Again, what's the reaction? Freezing, running.
I mean, I've already frozen, right? I've already had that moment of like internal contemplation, and now it's just we're upping the ante and it's getting worse. So no. I'm not here for this. And I'm actually just gonna get up and I'm just gonna start to flee.
Okay. Are you going for it? You might have the presence of mind to go for the truck or the Jeep, both of which are unoccupied, or you can just run off into the flippin' desert.
No, I definitely don't have the presence of mind to think about the cars. There's too much that has happened in the span of 5-10 minutes for me to even be thinking even remotely rationally. So I'm just gonna get up and start booking it into the desert. I'm not gonna say anything to anybody. I'm gone. Get me the fuck out of here.
It's hot. Are you gonna throw away your hat?
I assume in my haste it's gonna fall off anyway.
All right. So yeah, you're just booking it, and boy, she's fleet as a little deer. Quinn, you're following slowly.
I don't even know if I can connect that this is a new breakdown and not just a continuation of the previous breakdown.
He's got his gun he's holding it very casually and is talking to Barbara. And Hugo's like giving him what the fuck, bro looks. He's like, what do you need that gun for? He's like, that. And he starts to say lady, then stops himself and says, person just committed felony strangulation on me. But I'm trying to be cool about it.
I'm just looking irritated, annoyed, and you could tell I was literally just about to get to Janie to say something before then he came out. Janie's running, Quinn is moving maybe slightly faster than a slow walk after her, and I just let out a long sigh, and I go to Barbara and Hugo and Dick, and I just say, I reckon she's made her choice. She's not getting in your machine, and you're not using her to talk to anyone. Out of interest, can anyone talk to it, do you think?
No one else has really been willing to try, but I bet... Okay, so what's the you gadget? And, Barbara's like, I beg your pardon? He's like, In my vision, I saw you holding a gadget shaped like a U. It was about this. And he completely describes the magnetometer you saw her using. And she gets just like this look in her eyes like, the fuck now? And wordlessly goes to her car, gets it out. And he's like, and he's like, what's that? And she's like, and they have a bizarre little conversation about the electromagnetic spectrum, which, concludes with him looking at the back of it and sticking stuff in ports from its outlet ports into the cloud buster. And as he does this, he's like, well, maybe she'll talk to you. And she's like, I don't think anything is going to happen. So sure, I will do it. Let me talk to the rain.
I look to the others, and I kind of go, well, thinking to myself, well, Janie's getting out of here, and Quinn's gonna look after her, so she should be okay, so maybe...
Yeah, at this point, Janie, you're booking along. You get to, it's an arroyo. You can climb down in there, and then you won't be, out in the open where people make weird things happen. And so you're scrambling down there among the scrub when you hear greased lightning.
I pull my phone out. I contemplate answering it. Fine. I'll hit the button. What?
I mean, I know it's repetitive, but are you okay?
Oh my god! And I just hang up the phone. I'm so tired of people asking if I'm okay. I lost 6 days of my life, and crazy shit has been happening. Why the fuck do people keep asking if I'm okay? Obviously, I'm not fucking okay. And for the record, this is out loud. So, I've hung up my phone. I am shouting this into just the environment, up to the heavens, down to the earth. Quinn, I'm sure, is close enough at this point to probably hear it.
This is the point. Big rumble of lightning and little pitter-patter rain. And yeah, JD and Quinn, give me knowledge rolls.
Ooh, 61. Unfortunately, because my knowledge is 60.
I have 27 under 40.
Yeah, you remember something about flash floods in arroyos?
Mm-hmm.
Like the one that Janie's down there having her little me time in. And they're especially likely to happen during sudden downpours, like the one that's now starting.
Quinn is never not cool, except when they're choking someone to death. But even then, fashionable. So Janie yells out, bursts out emotionally in the arroyo. Quinn, appearing over the lip of it, if that's kind of how it works, will kind of kneel down and say, "Hey, Pat."
My heart skips a beat when I hear them say that.
Look, I know you're going through a lot right now, but do you remember the story you told me about the person who was climbing out alone, and then they fell into an arroyo, and then a thunderstorm happened, and then it flooded, and then they drowned because flash floods tend to happen in arroyos?
Yes, of course. That was like a day and a half ago.
Pointing up at the sky.
Oh, shit.
Give me a climb roll.
That is a 6.
Yeah, she's just up there like a ring-tailed lemur. So, all right. So the two of you are standing there, and in the distance you can see the gleam of the cloudbuster. Are you gonna go back to it?
There's one thing I'm going to do first. So, Janie, as you're coming up out of the arroyo, I will reach down to give the least useful hand up in the history of all humanity. But then I don't let go. And I say, all this talk, all these things, haven't put it together yet, huh? I don't mean that to be that you're stupid or that you're confused, just that it's strange, and I mean, Why would you, yeah?
What are you talking about?
Talk about tourists and passengers and lightning bolts that make you not yourself.
Frontal lobe damage, it's what the doctor said, right?
I'm going to ask you a question. It's going to sound really strange at first, but I don't want you to let the strangeness of it affect your answer, okay? As best you can.
Okay.
Would you rather believe something plausible and mundane, or would you rather know the dangerous truth?
I pause for a minute, and I consider this answer, and I consider everything that has led me to this point. And I tilt my head a little bit and say, isn't knowing the truth always better?
No. I'm sorry for that. No, it certainly is not. That man, and I'll point back, he knows something of the truth. I don't think he's okay. Carol knows the truth, and I do big finger quotes. How do you think they're living their life?
Do you know the truth? And I return the big finger quotes.
I don't think anyone knows all of it. I know enough. I know enough to know that it's dangerous and it changes people's lives, and once you go down that road, it doesn't stop getting any more weird, but it might make, weirdly, paradoxically, just a little more sense. But I don't know what the fuck that thing that man has built in. I get Jado boosters on car vibes off of him. Who knows what'll happen. But if you're going to go through with this to talk to the rain and meet God or whatever, what I need to know is, do you want this to be a weird science adventure that you go on and then write on your memoir someday? Or do you want to know what they're actually asking you to do?
I mean, if they're not telling me the whole truth, then why would I want to go along with it?
Hey, I mean, that's my position, but I know how important it is to you that you have a choice. Can you come with me for a second?
Yeah.
So I'll lead Janie away from the arroyo on the off chance that this is a flash flood that will flood over the thing. We're having a moment, but I'm not an idiot. I'll find a kind of quiet spot. I'll have Janie sit down. I'm going to take the amethyst collar links off of my collar and actually snap the chain and hand Janie one for each hand. Then I take the cravat now. I'll wrap it around my right hand. And then from my pocket, I will pull out my phone, and I'm going to play the song that was on the car as we drove away from Friendly Freddy's, which was Rebel Rebel by David Bowie. So I'm going to, with the cravat around my hand and those pieces, start drawing a symbol into the dirt. And as it rains, I'll have to go back and redo the trough again, but continue to kind of scar its way in there. And I don't remember what the symbol meant. The shape isn't even like a shape I describe. It's just like in my brain, it comes out the way like, oh, artist, the brush just guides, right? But the purpose of it is I'm going to attempt vulgar magic, gutter magic, to do a boon ritual that will give Janie a bonus on... Can I apply it to, like, the next unnatural thing that happens? Is that too broad?
Sure.
Okay, and then I just roll my demon detection 60. That's what allows me. Okay. Exactly 60.
It feels right. Janie, you feel nothing, but you will, the next time you are trying to deal with unnatural stuff, you will do so as if whatever you're rolling is 20% higher. Or has 20 additional percentiles.
But I feel nothing in this moment.
No, you just see Quinn do weird stuff.
When Quinn finishes, whatever it is they're doing is probably right about the time Rebel Rebel is ending. And I stare at my hands, I stare at the ground, I stare up at Quinn, and I'm just like, this is a really weird attempt at being really close to me, Quinn. You know that, right?
I just smile really wide and say, it gets weirder.
And I just lean over and kiss them.
It's probably when the rain starts thundering down, right?
Oh yeah, that's when it gets really heavy. So the two of you are drenched as you get back, and Barbara's just like, well, I don't hear anything. She's like, I don't see anything. I don't feel anything. And as the two of you emerge from the mist, he's like, I guess we need the blonde.
Or maybe your machine doesn't work, Dick, and this is all just for nothing, and we should all just be driving back home, and I see...
Whoa. Come on. Don't be a dick, Carol. Nobody likes that.
Yeah, Carol, don't be a dick. Also, her name is Janie. As we arrive on scene.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot. You're gonna be cool, right, they, them?
I actually laugh. Making the connection that he thinks that's what it's about is genuinely funny to me in a dark way. Yeah. You just, you keep your inside gaze to yourself, yeah?
Well, wait just a moment, everybody. Janie, glad you came back, but just keep in mind you don't need to do anything you don't want to do, and I don't know what is gonna happen.
Neither do I. But... And I just kind of shrug.
But you're choosing to enter the thing.
Well, I just hold up one last thing and I just say, wait. If you're uncertain on this path, you could always ask me and I might be able to give you something. If you're uncertain.
Ask you what?
What you should do.
I roll my eyes. Okay, Carol. What should I do?
And I close my eyes because, again, I'm really hoping that she at least gets some guidance on whether this is a bad idea or a good idea. That is a 5.
All right.
Under 70.
If she does not engage with this now, she will never have to deal with the unnatural again.
Close my eyes.
If she does not engage with this now, she will never get to engage with the unnatural again.
I close my eyes, I reach out and just take out that compass again. Probably a little bit of movement on it now due to the incoming...
It's spinning.
It's your choice, kid. If you want answers... I think you'll get them. But it won't be the same. Nothing will ever be the same again.
I'll look over at Quinn, because we'd just been talking about knowing the truth.
I'm just slowly nodding. Not in a you should do it way, but in a told you.
Would you?
I can't tell you that. It's not how it works.
Why not?
I shrug. Why does gravity work? Why do we breathe? I don't know the answer to that one. I just know it is. You have to make a choice.
I'll look at Quinn. Would you?
I'm reflecting on how my experience has changed my life and actually trying to decide in my own head if I think it was worth it. The weird things, the tourists, the strangers. But in exchange for that, the seventh sense, the ability to help people.
Quinn relishing an ability to help people?
No, help person. I can say it will change your life. Whether or not that's for the better depends a lot on you.
Barbara just laughs. She's like, Janie, this machine doesn't do anything. It's just junk. You don't have anything to prove. I'm sorry, Mr. Krause. I'm sorry that I cannot hear the rain talking like you want. But this ain't it.
You know, I think the old Janie, the dead Janie, you know, she climbed mountains and she was a great student and none of that has changed, but I think she would have played certain things safer. And I don't think old Janie would. But that Janie's dead. So...
At which point Krause says, hell yeah! Let's light this firecracker.
Worst case, nothing happens, right? Machine's busted, just like Barbara said.
Okay, so you put on the electrodes and the rain's really coming down. You can hear it plinking in different notes against the brass of the device. And then those notes seem to come together into a voice. And the voice says, "You came back and found me." You're not sure if it's inside your head, or you're imagining it, or it's in your ears from the tones on the metal.
As I hear that, I'll take a look around and verify that nobody else can hear this, and I'll just say out loud, but softly, I did.
Did you like what we were when we were together?
I don't remember.
You will. And memories come flooding back. You remember the appetite without restraint, and you remember winning third place in a wet t-shirt contest, and you remember that instead of taking the commemorative garter belt that was supposed to be your prize, when they lost track of you in the back room, you saw a bag full of money and shoved open a grating in an HVAC and eeled your way out, giggling to yourself. And you remember going to a movie and the spirit inside you being absolutely terrified by the gigantic heads. And you remember that a man tried to pick you up and you yelled at him, and somehow that wound up with him buying you breakfast, and you were kind of on the fence about whether you were gonna let him pick you up, and the Janie half decided that wasn't happening. So when you told him no, he got really upset, went off to the bathroom. You took the Bronco and rolled his Hyundai into a ditch, at which point he came out waving a gun, at which point you hit him with the Bronco and drove away. You remember this sense that you could do anything, and you know that if you free this thing, that will be you. And that you will never freak out over seeing Quinn choke somebody, and you will never freak out over seeing a dead man come back to life, and that everything that happens to you from that point forward is going to just be one bead on a string of endlessly, brilliantly colored moments, but that you will move through them like a storm across the landscape, that you will always be above and beyond. And as this realization is coming to you, you know that to do this, you're going to have to dig up those 5 stones. But what's that? You've got a body. And when you do that, you will become this pure thing, like you have only been once for a few days. And the spirit inside you says, "You've always wanted to climb. Don't you want to climb out of your mere life and become a thing of pure spirit?"
Carol, not able to hear any of this, is just giving you a really intent, I really hope nothing terrible happens.
What the rest of you see is her hair start to stand on end.
And I just sort of quietly say, "Shady, just remember, you choose. Nothing can tell you what to do." And I sort of clench my fist helplessly.
Would I still be me?
Are you now? We would be us.
Would I remember?
Everything. As I remember the last 700 years.
It's at this point that I actually turn and I look at Quinn, because we met when I was us, right? Quinn didn't meet me when I was me.
Right.
So I just look at Quinn and I say, which version of me did you like better? Which version of me means the most?
Quinn does not have the self-reflection or the presence of mind to be like, no, don't be haunted. Selfish and curious about the world. There's a hint of this that's maybe something will come into her and we'll see where that goes. Not thinking at all about the fact that this whatever might not want Quinn to be part of the extended us, or that being that close to power might ruin Quinn. So there's no hesitation. So this when Ginny makes eye contact, Quinn, I've got my arms crossed and then one of them is up, just kind of chewing on a thumb. And then Ginny asks that question. It sticks there for a minute, and then my arms drop and I just fold my fingers together and say, you've always shined the brightest when you were unrestrained.
And that's when the lightning strikes. Huge, fat bolt, maybe 20 feet away. Boom. Just ear-shattering. So much light. There's silence, but you know exactly what it wants. It wants those 5 rocks dug up. And then it will be free. And you will be free with it.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the scenario Thunderhead Mesa for Unknown Armies 3rd Edition, published by Atlas Games. Joining us as players in this series are none other than Aaron Hammonds and V from Queen's Court Games, with Greg Stolze as our Gamemaster. The music was made by Atrium Carceri and was used with permission from their label, Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient for your gaming table. We also used the official Unknown Armies soundtrack by James Semple with permission from Atlas Games. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Nastasia Raulerson, Simon Cooper, David, Julián, Camilla, Bob Lange, Julián, Cameron, Xabier, and Antxon for their generous support. And we would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember, you are the cultist.